guys, we got this. Let's go. Gun white trip sweep. Pros X go. On one. Ready?
Ready.
What's going on, everyone? And Cap24 here from HuddleGG. In today's video, we're going to talk about red zone defense and the invisible fence that's built in when it comes to programming in this game. Now, if this is the first time checking out our channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, hit that bell notification to make sure that you never miss any of our uploads. This is a video I did back in Madden 18, and it was really successful. It was something that, kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes. I have not revisited it since then, and I know I've got a lot of different subscribers from then, so I want to make sure that I touched upon it, but also want to make sure that we talk about how zone drops affect it this year as it's a new feature in the game. So this is going to be something that I want to make sure that you guys understand. I'm going to do a series of tests. It's going to be a longer video, but I need to hammer it in for you to understand what's happening, why the programming is different in the red zone, and basically what's the best defenses to use, what's the best offenses to use against defense, and just basically give you a really nice comprehensive video on it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by going and just calling cover 3. We'll do a series of tests with cover 3. And I'm going to show you that the first thing is the coasting adjustments is default, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about this. And let's call cover 3 normal. And I'm just going to use this play verticals at a gun trips tight end as our basically our constant here and kind of show you, okay? So what you're going to see is I'm not going to basically throw the ball at all. I just want to show you, and I'm going to take off all the rushers so you can see this, and just going to leave the zones out there. All I want you to do is watch and replay because it's going to be very hard to see it originally. And we're going to talk about how things work, okay? Now I'm just going to throw the ball away. And now let's look at replay and show you exactly how the programming works. You can see, right, I'm at the 10-yard line. With cover 3, what you're going to see is two things. And I'm going to move the ball up so you can see this a little bit in the next example. The 3 deep players, right? You got a cover 3 shell. That means you got 3 deep. They're not going to go past the 5-yard mark in the end zone. So if you watch number 34 here, the safety and the other player, when they settle, they're going to stop right there at the 5-yard mark, right? Now, the reason why this is important is because there's an invisible fence. They will not go past that until the ball is thrown, right? They're going to settle there no matter what until the ball is thrown. Now, these other players are going to have a little bit of a variable depending on what zone depth they are or if they're on default. But again, none of them will go basically to the 5-yard mark. Every single person will stop. The only player that was a variable was actually the player that matched, right? He matches him. Now you can see that he's playing a man coverage. That's the only thing that changes, man coverage and match. So when you have, there's cover 3 principles where there's matching. So the backside hook curl here is going to basically match this player. And you can see he's the one that actually went past the invisible fence. But if they don't match, nobody will go past that 5-yard mark. Okay, very, very important. Okay, and that's a lot of the reason why the back of the end zone is always open in red zone situations, right? I'm going to go to the 5-yard mark and do the same exact thing, and you're going to notice the same exact thing is going to happen here, right? And what you're going to notice here again is that everybody's going to go to that invisible fence line and stop. All right, let's go ahead and just throw this ball away. Now the hook curls are basically taught to go about 1 yard past the goal line and stop there. So each zone has a different zone spot that they're going to stop. Okay, so let's look at this again here. We're going to look at this invisible fence. You can see that all 3 of the deep players don't go past that 5. The defaults basically stay there as well. So everybody's on that line. See how there's a line right here? They're all at the 5 mark, and every single receiver is behind them, and they're not reacting to them. The only time that, again, they'd react to them if it's in man coverage or if it's match where they basically turn into man coverage. See, these are your hook curls this time, right? The hook curls, this guy never matched this time, but you can see here the hook curls are going to be right there at that 1 to 2 yard mark off of the goal line, and they're going to stay there. So there's 2 lines that are formed. These 2 lines here, and then these 2 lines. This guy will drop in default to 5, and then he comes in because 13 came in, did a route bounce backwards. He came and followed him, okay? I want to make sure you see that, okay? So what you've learned so far in cover 3 is basically if it's default, they won't go past the 5, and the players won't go, anywhere past that, right? Now let's get back to backing this up, and we're going to start talking about zone drops. Zone drops, in my opinion, are very bad in the red zone, okay? And I'm going to show you why. Okay, so we're going to get out of this. I'm going to start off by doing 30 zone drops for everything. Okay, and what you're going to see here, we're going to do the same exact play. And what you're going to notice here, let's do the verticals, is that when we do this, zone drops do not work. Okay, what they do is they actually will only go to the goal line. Okay, now let me show you basically how this works. Okay, so same thing. If you remembered in the first example, our curl flat on the left side got to the 5-yard mark in the end zone, right? He was default. He went back to the 5-yard mark. If you put a zone drop further than the distance to the goal, they're going to go to the goal line. Okay, so right here it's 10 yards to go, and I put them all at 30. You would think they'd go to that 5-yard mark and go as far as possible, but that's just not the case. Okay, so here's your play. Watch those players. They're going to stop right there at the goal line. Okay, let's just go ahead and eat this, and let's go show you here on instant replay that when you are at zone drops and you put a zone drop further than the goal line, so see there's 10 yards to go, we put them on 30. Watch this play right here, number 26. He went to the 5-yard mark on default, but with 30-yard drops, he is going to stop at the goal line. So is this hook curl at 30. So is this hook curl at 30. So is this player at 30. They stop right at the goal line because their distance is further than the stop, right? So let's go ahead and show it to you here again. And we'll try a different zone drop, right? This time we're going to do 15. 15 is going to obviously be less than 30, but it's still more than the 10 yards to go. So let's go ahead and show it to you here again. And you're going to notice that it's going to be the same thing. So here's verticals. Here's coaching adjustments. Here's going to be, we're going to do 15 each way, right? So we're telling them, go past the goal line. I want you to go to 15 yards. I want you to go to that 5-yard mark inside the end zone, right? So let's try it again. And let's do it here to where it's covered through sky, right? I'm going to do the same exact play. Watch where these guys go. They stop at the goal line again. Again, anytime you have somebody that goes zone depths, they're going to go to the goal line only. So let's go to the 1-yard line, right? I'm just trying to hammer this in for you guys, a series of tests just to make sure you understand everything about this, okay? So let's go and change this up to where we're going to put the hard flats at 0, right? And then we're going to put the curl flats at 30. And if we're going to understand this correctly, they should end up in the same spot, roughly within a half a yard of each other, right? Because let's do hook curls at 30, it doesn't matter. We'll do curl flats at 30. We'll do hard flats at 0, okay? So I'm going to do a Mabel concept here. And I want to make sure you see that I'm putting the X here on a hard flat. So this guy right here is on a hard flat. This guy right here, Oliver, is on a curl flat. Curl flat set to 30. The other one's set to 0. Watch. Because they're on the 1-yard line, they're basically only going to go to the 1-yard line. Watch. They both stay and they both go to the same spot, right? One set to 30, one set to 0. And the reasoning for that, again, is that if a zone drop takes them into the end zone, a basically invisible fence will hold them there. They're not going any further. So if you're using zone drops thinking that you're going to be able to cover the back of the end zone, it's not going to happen, okay? Default is what you want when it comes to that, okay? So watch what happens on default when you're looking at your curl flats, right? So let's go do the same exact play. Your defaults are going to be the ones that go to the 5-yard mark, okay? So is it better? It is. I mean, it gives you the opportunity, and they roam, which is good. They don't just sit in a spot. That's the thing with zone drops. They don't really have any characteristics of following players. They go to a play and they just plop, right? So we're just going to go to default. I'll show you this here, and we'll go into cover 3 sky, right? So watch. This is the player I want you to watch right here is Oliver. When he was in a zone drop that took him to the end zone, he stopped at the goal line. Now that he is default, watch. He's going to go and he's going to back up, and basically he's going to play. See how he's moving in and out, moving in and out? He's playing his whole zone. He's not just going to a zone drop and just plopping. If I was to move this back 5 yards, whatever about the case, you're going to see that he's actually going to end up going, deeper into the end zone. And that's what you would want when it comes to this, because of the fact that, you want that guy to have a little bit of a brain. See how he goes back, he's coming down, he's going all the way across. Default is the way that you want to play red zone defense, okay? So that's cover 3. Now, let me talk about this a little bit and how to attack this when it comes to basically going against players that are using zone drops and why it's so bad, right? The best way to do this, and I'll just do coaching adjustments. So let's just say people are doing, 25. Well, let's just do 15. It doesn't really matter. Anything in the end zone, right? Say they're at the 8-yard line and they're at 10 yards because they want to be a couple yards in the end zone, right? So they think that they're going to have the right spot, right? So what I'm going to do here is just basically show you that a concept is I'll just do the same exact play here. We'll start off with, let's go ahead and look at verticals, okay? So see this tight ends route? So he's going to go to the back corner. Now watch what happens here. You're going to see that the A is going to get open on the back corner every single time. And why is that? It's the curl flat isn't going to get depth. I can do it with just about any of these plays. I'll get even closer. Route bouncing off the back of the end zone is really nice with any route that's like a corner route, a post route. See how the B is going to walk the line? See, I'll go to curl flat. All right, see how the A is now going to hit the back line and he's going to basically walk the line? Nobody's going to be there the entire time, right? I can go through these plays and I put these audibles in here on purpose. They're all different routes. And they're all going to do the same thing. Curl flat. I'm going to go halfback swing. See how halfback swing is a little bit different. It's got that little bit of an out, and then it goes to the outside. You can see that nobody's going to cover that if you're in zone drops because the invisible line, right? The invisible line, basically, there's 2 lines going on, right? The zone drops is going to take the guy to the goal line, and then the deep third, which is going to be this guy right here, is going to only go to the 5 mark, and he's going to stop. And you're going to see how this guy, even though he's going and he's moving, he never gets the depth he needs in order to get that player, right? So let's go ahead and look at one more example just to make sure you see it. We'll go to PA crossers. It's a different route. You can see here that the guy's going to come off the bounce. He's going to go across the field, and nobody's going to get him. And if you ever wondered why people do these rollouts and they're always open in the back of the pylon, it's because your zones aren't going to get there. I mean, it's as simple as that. Right? You either have to man them up in order for them to pass that 5-yard mark as far as that visible fence, put them on match coverage to do that. But if you're in a standard zone drop, it's not going to work. Now, if I put default on, what you should notice is that your curl flat is now going to get to that 5-yard mark, making this a lot more different, right? So I put the default on, and let's go ahead and try this here. Put the same cover 3. We'll do the same exact series of plays. And you're going to notice here that you're going to have a lot better opportunity when it comes to playing this ball. So the player that we're looking at right here is going to be Neil. He is the one that got highlighted. He's going to be the guy that we want to look at. You can see that he's going to go over there and see how he now, well, we did get through out a sack, but you could see that he was not at the goal line. He was 5 yards into the end zone. That's huge, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at halfback swing. Let's do the same thing. You can see that this guy's going to go in, out. Now he's going to see if I'm going to throw that ball, he's going to be in a position to catch it. Now, yes, are you leaving the goal line open? 100%. So if you really wanted to at this point, this is where your double Mabel would come in, where you could basically put this guy on a hard flat, and that way you don't have to worry about, either a quarterback running in or whatever the case is, but you can see here they're waiting, try to throw it over there, and you can see that I got it there, right? But your guy was in more position. Why did I get there? It's the whole rollout thing. If you go ahead and you take enough time, that guy is going to come down. That's part of the programming as well. I don't want to get into the why that needs to be changed because it's terrible for defense. But in general, if they're going to stay in the pocket, you're going to have the better opportunity of getting on that player, right? So what we really looked at today, and I'm just looking at cover 3 just so you can see it. You're going to see that works. Now, if I back this up, and I'll just show you, go back to the side and kind of do the same illustration with cover 2, it's going to work the same way with cover 2 as well, right? So right now, I have it on default, right? So I'll just go Tampa 2. These guys are only going to cover a certain amount of distance. Let me just get the same play just so you can see that it's going to be, the same variables and everything. So let's go to this. Let's go to trips tight end, and let's go to verticals, and let's just do this, right? So here, what you should expect, and I hate cover 2 in the red zone because your safeties, they get caught inside the numbers. They don't spread out, right? Like the closer they are, the more they'll spread out, but it's one of those deals where they're very easily manipulated, the safeties in the red zone. But if you look at it here, you're going to see that they're going to go to that same 5 spot, and you're going to see that both the cloud flat and the safety ends up basically in the same spot when it comes to it, right? So when the further you are away, you're going to see that these guys will literally widen out pretty quickly and then stop, but they don't cover over here and they don't cover over here. Like they put themselves in a spot where they're easily able to be thrown to the seam. You can see how 14 or 10 would have been able to be thrown in the seam, but yet they're not going to get wide enough to where they could cover over here. Like if they had a route bounce that went to the outside over here, they wouldn't be able to cover it, right? But let's just look at the visible fence that I wanted to talk about here. These guys are at the 5 yard. The cloud flat isn't going to go past the 5 yard. And it's as if they almost form a line across 5 deep on there, right? Because of where it is. Now, if I set the cloud flat steeper, let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's get out of this. Let's go ahead and set the cloud flat steeper. Maybe you're a player who likes to play the outside deeper and then put players underneath it. Let's go ahead and try that. Coaching adjustments. Let's go to your blues. Let's put them at 25, right? And we'll just put the standard cover 2. And we'll do the same thing. And we'll make sure you see this as well. Let's go to same play, verticals, right? So you got them at 25, right? So what should you expect? You should expect them to basically stop at the goal line. And why is that? Because their cloud flat, we told them to play deeper into the end zone. Once they hit the end zone, they're not going to play any deeper if they're on coaching drops, right? We talked about that in cover 3. We knew that when this guy was default, he played to the 5 yard mark. When he wasn't default, he's going to stay at that goal line, right? Which is obviously such an easy throw that we threw here in the back of the end zone because I told you before, cover 2 safeties don't cover the back of the end zone to this side. They don't cover the middle of the end zone. They don't cover anything. So if somebody's in that type of cover 2 where they think that, hey, I'm going to put this guy in a 20-yard drop because I want him to cover the back of the end zone, you're actually not getting anything from him because he plays right on the goal line, right? So I just wanted to kind of bring this video to you guys to understand a couple things. There's an invisible fence. It's going to go at the 5 yard mark. Nobody's going to move unless they're in man coverage or match. Past that 5 yards, the back of the end zone is always going to be open. If you put coach drops on, they're only going to drop to the goal line if the drop is a greater distance than the goal to go. So hopefully this will give you guys a little bit of an understanding of how to attack it, how to kind of defend it better in the future, just so that way that you're not put yourself in a disadvantage and wondering and scratching your head all year long why your zones aren't playing the way you thought they should in the red zone. So if you're a typical guy who likes to do zone drops to 25 yards and it's you're on the 17 yard line, don't expect them to go into the end zone because they're not, right? So if you guys got anything useful out of this, definitely hit that like button for us. It does help our channel grow. Hit that subscribe button because we're definitely trying to hit that 35,000 as soon as we can. And you can definitely get more tips like this throughout this year, but also into Madden 22 and beyond. We appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you on tomorrow's video.